Welcome to another episode of Crazy Canuck Truckin. I want to thank all of the new followers that have come along, and for those that have continued to follow along for all this time. And let's get right into it. Don't forget to rate and review. And if you have questions about trucking or questions about what I talk about or what my guests talk about, please send me an email at crazycanucktruckin@gmail.com. I will have that in the show notes. Also, if you want to help keep the show on the air by helping to pay for some of the costs, then there will be a link in the show notes where you can do that and support me. And I greatly appreciate any bit of help because it's not free what I'm doing here. But anyway, it is what I do, and I enjoy doing this and listening to stories of amazing people and trying to help out in the trucking industry as well and helping people navigate through things. But let's jump right into it. Springtime, or it's getting to be springtime. I'm in Canada, so it's still quite a bit below freezing here many days, and but the sun is getting higher and getting warmer, and the days are getting longer, and snow is starting to melt, and road restrictions are coming up. So wherever you are, pay attention to the road restrictions. They are all over the map, literally, as far as where's a good place to drive, where's not a good place to drive. For those that don't know what road restrictions are, you probably live down south where you don't get frost in the ground. So when there's frost in the ground and it starts coming out, then the roads get really spongy. It's like driving in a swamp, almost, because the frost is holding water there, and the roads break up really easily. So be careful. Check out where you're going. Make sure that you know the rules and regulations, and have a great day. Got a great guest coming up. She's going to talk about a lot of things, and it's going to be a good time. So remember, like, share, send it out to your friends, and talk about it. Send me emails if you want, crazycanucktruckin@gmail.com. Have a great day, and right into the interview. Here we go. I want to welcome my guest to the show today. I have an amazing young lady from Canada. She is a mother and a wife and a truck driver. She owns her own truck, so she's an owner-operator. And her name is Nicole. Welcome to the program, Nicole. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much.
That's going good. So obviously, that's your truck in the background.
Yes, that is. I really like it. It's my very
Tell us.
first truck I ever bought.
Very first one.
It's my first truck I bought. I bought it a year ago. It's a 1999 Peterbilt with a 60 Series Detroit, and I bought it off of a friend of ours who decided to get out of the trucking, and it was a good deal, and it was well taken care of, and I knew who it was coming from, so I had faith and trust in it. So I picked it up a year ago, and I don't know, I love it. I've fallen in love with it. I know it's an older style, but it's a style I really like. Actually, it's a long nose. It's just it's a nice truck going down the highway. So
yeah, they rides pretty smooth, and
it's actually really smooth.
You got a good motor in there, Series 60. You can do a lot with those motors, and they're still fuel efficient.
Oh, they're good.
Yep.
Yeah, really good on fuel. They have good pulling power. They love to run. So, and they go for a long time. I really like it. I'm really pleased with it.
So we might as well touch on this right away since I can see it in the background. Freedom Convoy.
Yes.
Kind of a hot button topic.
It is. It's a very it's discussed quite a bit with lots of different point of views on it. So I actually bought my truck just over 2 weeks before the Convoy hit or went through North Battleford in Saskatchewan here. That was the next kind of meetup spot close to where I was. I decided to jump in and go. I thought, why not? It was just something that made me feel like I should go. I've never protested in my life. I've never really been a political person. I never really felt strong enough or passionate enough to stand up for really anything, but there's kind of just something about it made me want to go. I was only supposed to go for the one night, just down to Regina, just to show support, to know for the brothers and sisters on the road, going to show them some support, but go back because my truck was fully booked for work. And then the morning of the convoy, my kids were supposed to go to mom's house for the night, and they convinced me to let them come with me. And I said, okay, well, it's one day, not a big deal. And then we ended up keep going all the way to Ottawa, stayed there for a couple of weeks and came back. So we were gone a total of a month to Ottawa and back. And that was an amazing trip for my boys and I to go through. There's a lot of controversy that came out of the convoy, a lot of strong opinions about it. And I think putting all of that aside, my biggest thing I enjoyed the most was the bond that my boys built along the way, along the convoy. We were in places we've never been to before. We were amongst thousands and thousands of people that we didn't know. And yes, we ended up making friends that became family to us along the way, and people that we still talk to daily. But we didn't really know anybody. So it made us bond together like quicker and faster. And it strengthened their bond of they had to rely on each other and support each other in different ways. And they got to see the countryside, and they've never been to Manitoba or Ontario, so they got to go to the countryside, and they got to talk about it and experience it together. And then being out in Ottawa together, hearing the different stories, seeing other kids, they're able to talk to different kids, make different friends and make family, gain a family out there. So it was a really important thing for a really amazing journey that kids and I went on together. And I was very proud of how they did. I thought they'd go stir crazy, like a month straight in the truck. We never got a hotel once. We never stayed at somebody's house once. We stayed in the truck for a whole month. And I thought I was going to go stir crazy after a while too, thinking you're going to have to eventually go crazy. But, we just made do. We had a routine. You got up, you had your breakfast, and we hung out, did different things, did a little convoys, sat downtown and, talked to people, got out, listened to people's stories. And that was the biggest thing of, take all the controversial topics aside of the convoy. The biggest thing I think I enjoyed and I appreciate hearing was being able to talk to people on a personal level of their effects or their story when it came to the convoy, how it affected to the COVID, and how the convoy helped and supported them, and seeing that there was quite a few people that just needed their voice heard and listened, and some people just needed a hug. And that really what it came down to. Some people just needed to feel that human interaction again without restrictions and without judgment or people being scared. I wasn't scared. It didn't bother me. If I got COVID, I got COVID. It didn't bother me. So we enjoyed it, and I loved it. And most of all, I loved taking that journey with my kids and being with them on the whole time. And just, I don't know. I was very proud of them. It was a very big, proud mom moment. I don't know if I quite have found all the words to it. Even a year later, I haven't quite found all the words to describe it all. But it was a journey that I was very thankful I was able to do with my kids. And oh man, I don't know. It brings me to almost to tears every time I think about it too. So it's pretty important. Pretty cool.
How old are your boys? Or how old were they then?
Tyler was 11, and actually he was 10 going on 11, and Emmett was 7 going, he just turned 8. Sorry, I had to think about that. He had just turned 8 when we left, and Tyler was just turning 11 when we came back. So
nice.
Yeah, they became little men pretty quick, and very willingly too. They were really cool with it.
Yeah. You still see the effects of that today with them? Like they have continued forward from there?
They have their brother moments. They like to fight or squabble about things, but actually, like even just this morning, they were making their plan. They're going to go into the shop and go and fix on one of the little quads that we have, and they're making a plan. And even my youngest one goes, "Hey, mom, see, we're still getting along." So I think it's helped them kind of respect and realize that they both have strengths and weaknesses. And it was a conversation we had a lot during the convoy that everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and we can either let someone fall because of the weakness, or we can support them because we can help them in that area that they aren't as strong in. And I think they kind of taken that, and they've been helping each other a lot more, and trying to see people for what they can do to help them, and where can they support them and give them strength. So That's
I
good.
think
That's been a really good teaching, good hands-on teaching.
that's something that's so important and is done so little these days. And
Hmm.
um, that's really bothered me in the last few years is that people want to have only one point of view. I did a lot
Yeah.
of media on whether I support the convoy, and I absolutely support people convoying and standing up for their rights
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
speaking their minds. Absolutely. You need to do that. And
Yeah.
nowadays, people want to bully others into only having one point of view or only, you know, I would go on news programs that are quite often totally against how I feel about things, and on
Yeah.
some others that were more aligned with how I think. And I had some people tell me, well, you can't go on that one because they have a different point of view from you, or they're just going to try to. I'm like, why would I
Why is a different
not?
point of view so fearful? And
Yeah.
that's what I kind of keep trying to say when it comes to the convoy's been a big conversation starter. People see it on my truck, people see it on my sweaters, or like I have a lot of sweaters or t-shirts that have Freedom Convoy on it, whatever. People see the content I put out. They know I've been part of it some way or another, and it becomes up in conversations quite often. And usually, first and foremost, and I'm a firm believer in this, when I say I'm not anti-vax, I just chose personally for my own health. I chose my own. I personally chose not to have the vaccination for my own decisions. But just like before COVID happened, what you choose to do with your medical decisions was not my place to form an opinion or my place to be involved with. So it's not going to change just because COVID came around. And when you kind of open up a conversation like that, saying like, I'm not going to, it's not my place to form an opinion on it. It just simply isn't. I'm a mom. I will decide for my kids until they're old enough, mature enough, and decide whatever they want to do. But until then, the only people I should be making decisions for is my children and for myself. And I need to be open-minded. I've taught people who have had their vaccinations and are supporting of it, and they think it's helped them. And I stand there and listen and go, okay, it's a valid point. You feel you're safer with this, and that's good. I'm happy. That's a good thing. You felt like you've done the right thing by yourself. All I should be doing is going, okay, that's awesome. I'm glad you were able to come to a decision that you're happy with. That's
Yeah.
it. I don't
Yeah.
need to say any more beyond that. I can spew facts and hope that I have gotten the right sources. I can tell you about stories that I've heard. I can tell you about all sorts of things. But when it comes down to it, unless that person specifically asked you that question of your opinion, it's not yours to give. So I just usually leave it alone, but try and keep it more of a neutral and keep the more positive side of the conversation, because convoy has become such a negative topic for so many. And it's really sad because it shouldn't be such a negative thing. It was a really amazing, powerful movement that happened, and one that many people are very proud of being part of or supporting of and stuff. And I think there's so much controversial since then, and misinformation, and you name it, strong opinions and people with ill intentions and stuff. It's kind of it's rocked it a bit, but I just try and do my part and just talk about it positively, and let people know that it's not one way or the other. We can still all be in this. You can disagree with the convoy, but I'm still going to talk to you because I have no other, like, I have no reason to hate you. So
Yeah.
there's
I
no
love
reason.
I love convoys. I go in as many convoys as I can. But
They're fun.
you know, I love, they're so much fun. People love seeing all the trucks running down the highway. I mean, usually for
Mhm.
me it's Special Olympics or it's things like that. You know,
Yeah.
there's there's a lot of kids that will never become truckers still
Yeah.
love seeing the big trucks. There's a
Yeah.
fascination with that, and with the people that are capable and can handle those rigs going down the road. I mean, that's something that should always be celebrated. I don't
It's a,
think it. I never liked the blockades at the border.
mhm.
My decision to get vaccinated. I was one of the last ones to get vaccinated, but
Mhm.
I I did it for my reasons.
Yeah.
Even though I hate some of the aspects about it, and I feel that there's some
Yeah.
strong, very, very strong drawbacks to it.
Mhm.
But in my position, I couldn't. I couldn't justify not getting vaxxed and not being able to cross the border and stuff like that. That was my decision.
Yeah.
And I was very strong against this particular drug because, as we all know now, it's not really a vaccine. But anyway, I like the approach that you take, and I mean that's why I wanted to have you on, because
Mhm.
there's it's not a scary thing. A convoy is not a scary thing. Having people stand up for their
No.
rights is not a scary thing. You know,
Yeah.
we are not, none of the truckers were going out and destroying things. Nowhere ever,
No.
not even in the blockades.
No.
There was
No.
none of that going on.
None.
And
I was outside of Ottawa, and then I was the last week I was downtown, parked downtown, and I'd gotten to know a couple of the convoy guys down there. And I said to them, I have kids, and they kept on saying, "Come on down, it's great down here." And I said, "I have kids, I can't come down." And they said, "No, come, it's fine, it's safe. There's other kids down here, and there's a couple of families down there too." And I had never felt so safe in my life, and I was born and raised Vancouver, so that place is a little bit nerve wracking. It's a little bit of a scary place at times.
yeah,
It is high crime and stuff. So I was kind of had the same mentality going to Ottawa, thinking, well, it's going to be just like Vancouver. It's going to be unsafe for my kids. My kids are my kids are country kids. They weren't raised with that defensive kind of mode. They were raised with like, oh, there's a bear in the bush. Let's go and like, get the dog and scare it back kind of thing. Like
yeah,
they just have a bit of a different like upbringing. So I was a little bit nervous on that point. But I checked it out and I had the agreement with the guys down there. I said, I need to be able to get out instantly with my kids if something goes sideways. And so they actually rearranged a block for me to put me right next to the open lane. And if anything were to happen, it was discussed
you're
that
gonna
I get
go.
out instantly and they'd get me out. And
Yeah,
if I couldn't get out with my semi, then we had people with pickup trucks that would get my kids out. And we had plans. It was great. And I never had an issue, not once. We talked to people. We fed the homeless. Literally, we had fed the homeless daily. We'd give them food, clothes, blankets, whatever we needed. Like we would give money. There was so much to it. And it's been talked about and discussed so often about everything that the convoy did do. And then there's people that want to take away from it or say negative things about it. And I think really at this point, people have their opinions when their opinions have been formed on the convoy, whether they support it or not, or they're neutral on it or whatever. They like parts of it, not all of it. And I guess it comes down to the same thing about the vaccination and COVID. It's you can form your opinion the best way or whatever way you want to. I'm an open book when it comes to it. If you want to ask questions about it, I'm there for you, but I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong for believing it or not believing in it.
yeah.
So
What was
I,
hilarious to me is when they were trying to show how dangerous this was downtown Ottawa. And the one guy actually said on camera, there's a bouncy castle, and it was, and he was just at a loss for words because he literally couldn't think of scary things to say. He said, there's a bouncy castle. Like, oh my goodness. I'm like,
There's
really?
a bouncy castle on one block. There was a hot tub, like one of those inflatable hot tubs in another block. Our block had hockey nets and sticks.
Yeah.
Different block had another hockey net and sticks, whatever, for the kids. And we would have random locals or people that are in there supporting the convoy that weren't
Yeah.
necessarily on a truck downtown with us. They'd come and play hockey. Random games would just start up out of nowhere. There is
Yeah.
tons of jokes and tons of things. And I left my truck. I never locked it. To be honest, I've never actually locked my truck. I can't do it. I can't lock my truck. So it was never locked. I just asked the guys, hey, can you just make sure no one messes with it? I'm going to run to town or I want to get the kids out of downtown for a day or whatever. So I took them out and did something with them and came back in. And there was never an issue. People never messed with my truck. They didn't do anything to anybody. There was, yes, I think they classified them as Antifa. They were trying to, or people that didn't support the convoy, they were trying to sabotage. Some people got bad fuel or water in the lines or cut airlines or whatever, like spray paint on their trucks. There was some sabotage to our trucks. Yes, there was that. It's kind of a given. We all expected like there's gonna be something happen. I thankfully never had anything, but our block we took a lot of rotations. We were constantly night watching. So just for that, because we didn't want these are our working vehicles. They're they're the ones that feed our families. So
Yeah.
we're willing to put them down for a short time to help support this, but we didn't really want to risk losing them. Well, we didn't want them damaged if we can prevent it, but they happen and happen. Get it done.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it. We'll keep on trucking.
So let's get back to the 2-week-old trucking company owner, 2-week trucking company, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What got you into trucking, and why? What type of trucking do you do?
I got into trucking. It's kind of a weird story. I was actually a secretary at stockyards, close to the town I live in. And with COVID and stuff, things were getting close. Like with COVID, the mandates and stuff like that were coming in. It was getting kind of harder, and it was kind of end of season. There was a big change coming at work as well. And I thought, with my husband's job being restricted as it is, he wasn't going to work as much. Or shutting the oil patch down. He also works as a rig manager on the rigs. So that was kind of getting slower. And I was like, we got to start finding money somewhere sooner than later, because we can't keep this up. And we do have a grain farm, but we had a bad year as well. So it was kind of got hit 3 ways. So I said, one of my, one of the locals here in town, he had a custom silaging business, and he asked if I wanted to come run a grain truck, like the 3-ton silage truck, help him out, helps me out too for a bit of a job. I'm like, sure, why not? And he also had a custom hauling custom trucking company. And he just lost a driver. And I said, if I got my license, would it help you out? I can come drive once in a while. I don't know how much I could actually do, kind of thing. And plus with our farm, we wanted to start expanding into beyond 3-ton trucks. We've been talking about somebody like my husband or his brother or me getting a license. So I thought, well, opportunities here, why not get it, go for it. And I thought I would only just drive once in a while, once in a blue moon, just to kind of help out here and there. I didn't think I could actually be, a full-time trucker. Like, well, I don't know, didn't think I could do that. But as soon as I started taking my training, I had to do the SGI melt program. So full on in class and behind the wheel and stuff training. Got my license, and as soon as I got behind the wheel, though, I was like, no, I think I want this full time. It was something, there was a sense of pride that kind of got sparked in me after getting my license. And for the first time I drove by myself, I'm like, I'm allowed to do this? Like, really? Someone trusts me enough to do this? Like, I don't know if I should be or not. But I started hauling grain and cattle in the beginning. Cattle was my thing. I loved hauling cattle. There was enough times though I got kicked and squished and annoying cows I didn't want to deal with anymore. I kind of lost the love for them after a bit. But it was a cool thing. Like, it was, I don't know, you felt like a super trucker, if you want to say that. With a load of cattle. And it was fun. I like working with cattle. I have worked with cattle before. So it was a fun thing to do. But I did more grain, did some liquid fertilizer as well. And some gravel and hauling bales, whatever, some just smaller, not smaller, but those kind of jobs. Right now, I'm actually a fluid hauler, so I haul oil and water to like thermal plants and batteries. So I actually really enjoy that one. It's a fun job.
Yeah. So that's all in the northwestern Saskatchewan. I guess not really too far north, but
yeah, we're in the Lloyd, Maidstone, Edam area where I'm hauling right now but the fluid hauling's all over Alberta and all over lots of different areas, but that's the area I'm based out of right now. So
are you
it's a good one. I like it.
How often are you home? Are you home every night? Every couple of nights?
I'm home every night unless something really comes up. There's the odd time that I can't make it home from delays or road conditions or whatever the heck. There's the odd thing, but I work 1 week on, 1 week off, but I'm home at night. So I work about an hour away from where our shop is based out of. And it's, for the most part, it was an industry. So the oil industry, you need to have experience driving. You need to have some wits about you. We are dealing with H2S in our oil. It's a deadly gas that you can be affected by. So you have to have several tickets and clean abstract, driver's abstract, and you can't just have an amateur junior driver out there. It does take a little bit of, it's driving is driving, but it's a procedures that you have to do. You have to make sure you're really careful with, because it can kill you really easily. And spills are not acceptable. You just gotta be careful with your job. So I was kind of I was kind of surprised actually when I got the job to go in fluid haul. I didn't think I was in the industry long enough yet or not, but got trained up, and my boss drove with me for a week, and he was like, no, you're good to go. He thinks he was fine with me, do it. So I've been fluid hauling since, oh my gosh, October, I think it is. So it's been pretty good. I like it. It's a good job. And I'm home at night. It is long days. We usually put in between 13 and 15-hour days. There is some times that you are stuck on site or whatever, so you have your off bunk time and whatever, you have to just wait on site until something comes up or something, tanks are too full or whatever the heck's going on. So yeah, it's been a good job actually. I really enjoy this one a lot. So, and then having that week off is really nice for the kids, to be home with the kids, get their appointments done, be with them, see them more. It's good.
Yeah, and it's nice that you're at least at your own. For the most part, you're at home every night anyway, and it's pretty sweet that way.
Majority of the time, yes. Yeah.
So how do you keep your water from?
Sorry.
What's that? How do you keep your water from freezing if you haul water?
The tanks are usually, the water's usually sitting at between like 30 to 50 degrees when I'm pulling it out of there. It's heated. Those tanks are heated, so any of the fluid in there is warm. If it's too cold, you can't really pull it. It's really slow. It's not good for your pumps and your equipment. And if it's too hot, it will swallow your equipment as well. So it is not good. It has to be kind of in a certain, like between 60 and 80 is kind of the ideal temperature when you pull stuff, like pull any fluid. And you're only driving it for usually about an hour, no more than an hour and a half before you go and push it off. And sometimes you even have to sit. It drops down in temperature, but not terrible amount. So
I talked to one guy. Well, I've talked to many guys doing fluid haul, and usually I knew the answer to it, but my listeners probably don't know, or they do now. That there are reasons why it doesn't freeze. But one thing he said is, you don't want to have a truck breakdown, because then you can start getting into some issues. And so it was tough with some of the newer vehicles, because they would have emissions issues and whatnot, and they would.
Yep.
That is not a fun thing.
No, the DEF system is one of those systems that lots of people have different opinions on. I'm not personally a fan of it. I would prefer not to have the DEF system on mine. I'm not a fan of it, but some guys might not like it that much. I don't know if I really talked to anybody that likes it yet, but it's a system I can't quite see the benefits of it. But also, I have not spent the time to fully research all the ins and outs about it. I just know from a truck side point of view, having to do regens and DEF fluid, and half the time it's -4, your DEF fluid pumps don't work and you need your DEF fluid to run. And I haven't researched it all, so I can't really form a whole solid opinion on it. But from a driving standpoint, I'm not a fan of the system. It's not very friendly to my industry. So if you're just riding down the highway long hauls, I can see it's better because it will do higher burns, but I'm idling lots too, so I'm not really a fan of it. So
it needs some it needs you to be running at good engine temperature for good periods of time without slowing down, so it operates properly.
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote an article about that. It just went up on Friday, so this is probably going to come out on Wednesday. I don't have my calendar. I'm not looking at my calendar, but Friday, March 10th. So it'll be Friday, March 10th. This article came out, and I wrote in there that the emissions controls is what killed my owner operator business. I love being an owner operator. I was an owner operator for decades. And I couldn't justify the sticker price anymore of the new trucks and the downtime.
Yeah.
And I was, I got away from the older trucks. I've always liked technology, and I thought it was the way to go. And once I got into the newer trucks, and the sticker price kept going up. I got bought my last truck in 2013. Two, yeah, 2013. I bought my last truck, and it was a
Yeah.
2013 model, and I paid like 137,000 dollars for it. I sold the truck in no, sorry, I bought it in 2012. So I sold the truck in 2015. I'd kept it for 3 years, and to get the same truck, same specs in 2015 was going to be $165,000. So a
Yeah.
$30,000 jump. And then a couple years later, you know, to get the same truck today is, pushing around the 200 grand mark. And it's just like
Yeah.
the rates haven't changed. Like the rates have not
No,
changed that much to make it better, and
no.
so that was the last truck I bought myself. I do like the way the newer ones work. They are better. They have solved some of the issues, but it's just
Hmm.
so expensive for a single truck owner to have one of those.
It's very,
It's tough.
it's a tough thing. That's why I went to the older style. Not only do I like the older style, I like the toggle switches. I don't like the rockers as much on the dash. I don't, there's something classic, something really nice looking about the older long nose. If I had it my way, I'd have had a flat top long nose, but that wasn't
Yeah,
quite in the budget. So, but I do like mine. Mine works really good because I have bunks in my back, so I can take the kids with me for on the road, and they have their own beds and they hang out and whatever. It's a perfect truck for me. It actually has worked out really good for me. But I know people kind of said like, it's an older truck. Why would you do that? I'm like, well, you look at semis differently. You look at like a pickup truck. Uh, you don't look at a pickup truck and think, well, I'm gonna buy that and whatever, start saving up for the next engine kind of thing. For a semi, like you're always gonna be buying another engine. Give it a couple
yeah,
of years, give it so many miles or whatever, and hopefully if you maintain it properly, then it won't dynamite on you. But you're always looking at the next major fix. But it's kind of a given in the trucking industry. Like you're making money with this truck, you got to put money back into that truck. And all the technologies, like all the sensors that I go, and there's the newer trucks, there's just too much to it. And to try and make a dollar, to actually be able to pay more than just your truck, to try and support a family on that is really tough with a newer truck. There's no doubt about it. Like I've had to put money back into my truck already with some engine work and stuff, but it's given. It's a given. You're gonna have to. But I felt the older trucks are just better for me. I personally like it. But the downfall to that is these companies that you want to be a owner, like a lease on, you want to lease on with some of these companies. They don't want old trucks. They want the newer trucks. They want, you can't be over 7 years old, or can't be over a certain amount of years. And so that kind of gets a really tight spot that you're looking for work on your own. You're buying your own trailers, your own contractor. Like it opens up the industry to a whole kind of different ball game. So the older ones are easier to work on, less sensors, less this and that. Some things are better, some things are worse. It's a preference, but price wise, you can afford it better. In my mind, you can afford it better, but companies don't. The companies that have the higher paying jobs don't necessarily want to take you on because your truck's too old. It's a catch-22. It really is.
yeah.
If someone has the answer out there, I'm all ears. I'm willing to listen because I'm still new at this game. I'm trying to do the best I can with this living that I'm trying to have, but I don't know.
That's
It's kind of
that's a thing. Fortunately, you're in a pretty decent area, you know, because
mm,
you can haul water and you can haul crude or whatever else. You have
yeah,
quite a few options there. Um,
yeah,
in the area I live, there weren't as many options for doing local runs that pay good, you know, and so I
yeah.
needed to be a little more long haul, and there's other factors as well. I I was the sole breadwinner for a long time, so I couldn't afford to
Yeah.
take many chances. But Yeah,
There's not a lot of leeway in this industry for
no,
chances.
there's
If your
not.
truck goes down for even a week, even if it's on warranty, that's a week that your truck is not making money. That's downtime. That's, there's, and they always find something that you got to pay for as well, even if you got a warranty job on it. So it, it costs a lot of money when your truck goes down. And that's why we like to take that extra time in the morning. You check your oil, you grease everything up properly, you kick your tires. It's not just jump in and go. We, like, every morning when I fire up my truck to go to work, it's at least, you got to go through your inspection and everything else. You have to go through it, or else I know it takes time away from your day from working. That's an extra whatever hour in total from letting it warm up and checking your oil, making sure your fluids are topped up, making sure everything's good, or draining your tanks and stuff. It's an extra hour of your day that you're taking away from your family. But if I don't do it now, then my family's not going to get as much in the end. We're going to have to work twice as harder later on to make up for that downtime. So
Yeah, and
it's six of one, half dozen the other.
that's the thing. Like Jim Park wrote for today's trucking that the new emissions coming out in 2027. Um, they also want to make a law that the manufacturers have to warranty the trucks for 12 years or something, or longer periods. And so when I was talking to an editor about doing this article I wrote about the emissions, I said, they can make all the warranties they want in the world, but unless they are paying my downtime, I don't care what the warranty is, because exactly as you said, there is still going to be stuff I need to pay for. If they would say, sign on the dotted line, I'm going to pay 200 grand for my truck or 170 grand for my truck, whatever, and they are going to be responsible if that truck does not roll down the road for my downtime, for my income that I'm losing.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get on board with that. But you think they're going to do that? Because they're not going to pay me $1,000 a day for the truck sitting. It's just not going to happen.
Not even close. You don't get anything. And 9 times out of 10, any warranty work I've had to, like, that I've been involved with, it's always, oh yeah, that's covered a warranty, but we can't do that job. I can't cover a warranty unless we get this and this done, because this is now going to affect that part. And it always seems to, it's the age-old question of, like, is it actually be covered under warranty as well? I've had that a couple times recently, with a different truck that oh, well, the truck has warranty, the engine has warranty. Oh, actually, it wasn't part of the engine, or it wasn't under the warranty classification. So it always seems to get you one way or the other. And yes, it is part of being a business owner, as being a trucking company owner of a trucking company, is that we're always having to put a little bit aside every month, every run, I budget that into my run.
Yeah.
I put a little bit every time aside for my next engine job, but I also am trying to still pay off the last one that I got done, and I'm trying to keep the rubber good on my truck, and I'm trying to get the seats wearing out, or the dash lights are burning out, or, like, there's always something that has to get done. There's always maintenance and wear and tear. But when you're putting, what does the average person drive, 60,000 kilometers in a year, whatever, and just their four-wheeler, and we'll put 60,000 on and, like, nothing. Like, on every shift I can put on, in a week, depending on my runs, I can put on anywhere between 4,000 and 7,000 in a shift. Depends on my week. There's been some weeks I was pushing 7,000. Just depends on what you do and how you do it and where you're going and stuff. So it doesn't take us long to add up the miles. And that's just 1 week we'll put that on. So it doesn't take us long to add up miles, and that there's a lot of wear and tear on those parts. And we're running at -40 and +30 and down rough roads, and rocks are getting winged at us, and yet we still do it every morning. We go out there, we fire up that truck, and we walk away while it's warming up. We take a look back and go, yeah, I love my job, I love my life. Still do it every day.
I mean, I that's therapy to me, sitting in my truck and driving.
Oh yes, it is. There has been conversations when you got so many hours by yourself in the truck, you're driving along and you listen to music or you see something that sparks a memory or you see whatever the heck it is, I will think about things and I'll start thinking about different conversations I've had. And I was a little bit worried at one point that trucking would get in the way of a marriage. And there, my husband's actually kind of thankful for it, because there's been times I've called him and been like, remember that time I got really, really mad and I just freaked out and I yelled at you? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, I was wrong. Sorry. I think about it and go, oh, I see his point of view better. Yeah, I shouldn't have reacted that way. It makes you, I come home differently too now. I have a lot more time to kind of sort life issues out, or any stressful problems. I have time to you have time to yourself to kind of like process it all and think about it all and what you need to do, what you want to do. So it is kind of a therapy in a sense. For me, it is. I met some people saying that they had to quit trucking because they were left alone with their own head too long and it wasn't good. So it's a personal thing. If you don't mind it, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I love the rumble of a truck.
Yeah.
Firing it up in the morning and it fires up, and the new trucks aren't quite the same, but
Not quite.
it's still like right now I'm driving a 2018.
Oh yeah.
As I'm a company guy, so
Yeah.
driving a 2018, and it doesn't sound quite the same, but it's still
Not
turn
quite.
that key and it starts rumbling along, and I'm like, yeah, still like doing this. I've
Yeah.
30, 35, what is it? Yeah, 35 years now. 35 years
I'm
I've done it.
just 2.5 years into it so far, and I still like it. There's been moments I've like mentioned to like my safety hand at work or whatever. I'm like, I don't know why I'm a truck driver. I don't know why I gave up secretary work for this. I don't know why I'm doing this. But then you kind of get back on the road and you warm back up and you're heading down the road, and it's that sunset that most people don't see, or that sunrise that people don't see, or that beautiful red glow that you're sitting just that much higher up in the truck and you're looking at it going, and it's kind of, it sounds maybe silly to people that aren't aren't a truck driver, haven't been in a truck while it's happening. But in the morning when you're cruising, you're loaded, you're going down a hill, your jakes are just barking and that sun is just rising. And it's that beautiful sun, red glow to the sky, and it's just dead calm and quiet. And all you can hear is your jake, and it's just you feel strong. You feel pretty. I don't know. There's something about it. You just kind of go, it's pretty cool. A lot of people don't get to experience this very often. It's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, that's. I've had discussions over the years. My kids, they lost out on some things with me being a long haul driver, but they also gained some things. My kids were in places that others only dream about. I'd have them down in LA, or I'd have them in Miami, I'd have them in Toronto visiting family, or I'd see family on the West Coast, or see friends somewhere else. And for a while there, it was my kids were like, I got to go with dad for 11 days. Well, I got to go with dad for 11 and a half days. It was a real competition during the summer. Who managed to get a longer trip with dad? It's never, none of them ever got forced into it, and
no.
The funniest was one time I was going down to Florida, going down to Miami, I think, or going down someplace, and just last minute decided, take my youngest daughter, Michaela, and she was in school, and it was a real spur of the moment. It's like, hey, you want to go down Florida? And that was a really nice trip, and it's kind of an inside joke. She was can't even remember, what is the name of that handheld game console? She was playing this thing, and she had to watch out for the lava balls or something, but of course I'd mangle it and say, what are you fighting the lava dudes again? you know, and we still joke about that today. That when she's playing a video game of some kind, I'm like, watch out for the labradoos, and other people are like, what are you talking about? You know, so things like
Yeah,
that. You
gotta
know,
be there to know it.
my
There's a sense of pride when you drive a truck and being able to haul this big machinery down the road, and
yeah,
um, you're delivering fuel, oil, food, cattle, green, you name it, whatever parts. We're always delivering things that are keeping the world going, and we're not the only ones out there. We're just a small piece of the puzzle
yep,
that help provide for the country and provide for the industry and keep the world turning, kind of thing. And becomes, when you're in a truck, lots, especially when you're in a truck by yourself, lots, it becomes kind of this big world, but it's almost a small world. Our trucking industry is a big world, but it's also very, very small at the same time. So it's kind of a different thing there. And when you let somebody come into your truck, this is your home in your truck. That is your home away from home. And it's somebody inviting somebody into your truck to come and say hi or visit or whatever, come check out your truck or whatever. It is it's a personal thing, and it's allowing someone come into your personal space, and
it's a big deal.
then be able to experience that with your kids, to bring them into your truck. To that, I think that's my favorite view. Every time one of my kids come with me, when they come trucking, especially my oldest boy, he loves the truck. He's told me he wants that truck when he turns 18, he gets his license, he wants that truck. So I told him, I made him a deal. You can take it. When you turn 18, you get your license, I'll hand you the keys. You'll have work and everything for it. And he's got his plans, and he's 12 now. So we'll see. 6 years, he might change his mind, and I'll be perfectly happy with that. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. But if he wants to, the opportunity's there. But to have him in there, and every time I look over, and we both, you do your trucker waves at everybody, and every time there's a truck coming at us, and he'd be like, "Oh, Mom, look nice Peterbilt." And he does his wave, and we both are sitting there doing it. And I don't know, there's just a sense of pride with it, and having him part of that world, and joining into that personal side of my world. That you're doing this, you're involved in the trucking world to provide for your kids, but they're not necessarily involved in it 100%. But when you get to bring them in and involve them in it, they get to see kind of what Mom's doing. And there's always this smile and this grin that he always gives me. He looks at me, it's just like, I got cool Mom. He always is very proud. And that, I think that's what keeps me going. Like, it's long days, long hours. And there's days I'm in my truck going like, what am I doing this for? Like, I love it, but what am I doing away from my kids? But I come home and they're like, well, what's happened today? And how's it going? And what was the trucking like today? Or what did you do? Like, they want to hear about it. So as long as they're still positive and supportive of it, and I've always made them that deal, as long as they are okay with me doing it and support me doing it, then I'll continue on trucking. But the day that they come to me and say, Mom, it's not working with the family anymore, it's the day I leave it. My kids have to come first. And they already deal with one parent gone all the time. So I'm kind of I can't be gone as much. So got to keep them included in all these decisions. But they've so far been a trooper with it too. They've been very supportive of it. I honestly couldn't have asked for better kids. And I think, to go back to the Convoy a little bit, I think the Convoy actually really helped solidify what Mom's doing. I'm not leaving because I want to be gone from them, because I'm running out the door going, yes, no kids right now. Like, I'm leaving the door going, all right, babies, I'll be back in, however many hours. Be back later on tonight. Love you. See you later. Whatever. This is worth it, kind of thing. Like, it's like they got to see a different side of it, and it reassured them that I'm doing this for them the best way I can, best way I know how. So good. It's a good experience.
Yeah, you I did want to address that. I mean, okay, that your attitude, your kids' attitude is amazing. That's
thank you.
That really sums up how so many of us are when we're leaving our family. To me, family is extremely important. And what you just said there is a big chunk of reason why I started this podcast. Because not everybody understands. And I know I don't always have truckers on, but I we leave our families and to go out to provide for your family.
Yeah,
And my podcast is, even though you're away from the family, I can bring you family stories. I can bring you stories of
yeah,
people that have families or that have almost lost all their families because of some tragedy they went through and stuff like that.
yeah,
So you miss out on your
yeah.
some of your family experiences. I'll bring you some of those family experiences on my podcast.
That's
Um,
awesome. I like it.
yeah, it
I like that
funny.
style. I like how
Yeah,
you bring it, you kind of bridge the gap between the two. I do
yeah.
like that.
And of course, you mentioned some things to me before we came on here, actually a few days ago, that people look at
Hmm.
you as a role model. People look at you as a let me see exactly what you said here, but um, yeah, you said in society's eyes, I'm amazing. I'm a female in a male industry. I'm a mom on top of it.
Yeah,
And yes, it's nice to be recognized, but every male in the industry I work in is not being recognized for the exact same thing I do. I'm working
yeah,
here for my family just like they are. Why praise me for
yeah,
something others are doing just because I'm female? I love
yeah,
that perspective. I've had that conversation with many other women in non-traditional roles.
yeah.
So maybe touch on that some more.
It, I'm very proud to be out there. I'm proud to be a woman working in a male dominant industry. And I just kind of made a bit of a TikTok actually just the other day about that because I keep hearing this male dominant industry and it's like, well, there's more and more females out there, and then it's you get different sides and different people perspectives, and I've seen different things from the feminists about how men should be treating women more equal, and I'm like sitting there going like, I don't understand where the problem is. I don't. And it is nice to get praise. Of course, anybody likes getting praise. And it is nice to be recognized and get praise for people going like, wow, you're a female in the male industry, or you're a female trucker, you're a fluid hauler, you're whatever. Like, and it is nice to get that recognition. But I work next and I see them on the road all the time. I work with a bunch of amazing men out there. They're doing the exact same job that I'm doing, and they don't get the praise that I get. And I never want to discourage people from praising people, but don't always just maybe don't forget that there is a lot more out there. There's a ton of people out there, male and female and whatever, that are doing these jobs. And they're working their butts off just like I am. They're not doing anything less than I am. They're just as good. And I get treated equally out in the patch. I don't have guys coming over being like, oh, step aside, you can't do this. Never once. That I've had the odd, something break, a shear pin or whatever. I've had to ask one of the guys to help me because I couldn't quite get it myself. And he never treated me anything different than he would treat one of the other guys. Everyone always treats me the same. Um, there's no division out there. The division, the talk about the division between male and female and recognizing females being in the male industry kind of thing, like, or that kind of stuff it's all outside of the industry. It's not in the industry. I have yet to come across one trucker that has ever spoke to me and saying that I don't belong out there. And I'm pretty sure I would actually wager my truck on this, that if I ever had one trucker out there saying women don't belong out there, or if they had that kind of mentality or attitude, I'm pretty sure all my other brothers and sisters on the road would take care of them. So where there's none of that. Any controversial topics like that, or any negative talk about female and male industries or vice versa, it's not in the industry. And I haven't seen it anywhere out of hauling cattle, hauling grain. You do get the look when you jump out of the truck and someone's like, oh, okay, it's a woman, okay, and they're kind of like, they ask you questions. How'd you get into this? How long have you been driving for? Not a problem, I'll answer questions. They're just curious, like, how to encourage somebody else to get into it. And I really honestly encourage women and men both to get into this industry. It's not a bad industry. It's, yes, not for everybody, but it's an amazing industry to be part of. it's I don't know, it's a sense of pride that you gain being on that road. And you can walk into a truck stop and struck up a conversation with anybody in there. You can pick us out instantly. Every trucker, you can be like, oh yeah, he's a trucker. And you go, hey, how's it going? Where you hauling to? Where you coming from? How long you been on the road? Whatever. You always have someone to visit with and chit chat and continue on your day with. So it's good.
Yeah.
But there's no division. It's talked about, but I don't think it's there. I think it's people that are too, dare I say, trying to be boisterous and loud and speak on behalf of women that don't need to be speaking on behalf of us. Like I'm capable of speaking up on my own. So if I have an issue, I'll speak up. Until then, I'm okay. But yeah, I don't think we need feminist groups really that standing up for us. I think we're okay. We're good. We're treated equally.
There's a few things I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of in the trucking industry. When you're rolling down the highway and I'm behind you, I have no idea what you look like. I have no idea what gender you are, what ethnicity you are. I have no idea. You're another trucker rolling down the road, and as long as you're not upside down in the ditch, you're one of us, you know.
Yep.
And the other thing is, when you go get a job in trucking, nobody looks at you and says, okay, you're going to make X amount of dollars, but the guy next to you is going to make more dollars because he's male. It's none of that.
Nope.
It's the same.
Nope.
You get paid exactly the same.
I do.
As anybody else out there.
I get paid the exact same wage as my cross shift does. So it's equal. It's 2023. And like, that's the thing. It's like, come on, it's 2023. We're equal on all fronts. And I guess I have not personally come across it. Maybe in other industries, not in the trucking industry, but maybe in other industries around the world, that there's not equal pay, whatever. I personally haven't come across it. I don't actually know anybody that's dealt with it or come across it, but I can promise you and guarantee you from all my experience and people that I have talked to, male and females, that we are all treated out there equally. This batch doesn't care if you're male or female or what you are or what you look like or what culture you have. All they want to know is, can you get it from here to here and on time and cost the least amount of money? That's all they want to know. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah, and they're going to pay the same way.
As long as you're capable, none of the other stuff matters. None of that matters.
It doesn't. No.
And
but yeah. I just wish I really do wish people would. Yes, it's nice to praise women driving a truck. Everyone's like, oh, it's a woman driving a truck. It's cool. Yeah, it is cool to see them out there. But don't forget, there's a lot of men that have been doing it for many, many years that are providing for their families just like the rest of us, that are doing it. And be surprised you'd be really surprised. You see a trucker and you think, oh, he's a tough, rough guy, must be whatever. People instantly judge a trucker and think they must have a bad past. They can't get any better job than this. We can make some pretty good money because we work pretty good hours. But they might look tough and gruff and whatever, wear a leather vest, or they might, have a trucker hat and swear a couple times more than you'd like them to do. But you probably don't even know how many tears he's cried driving down that highway, knowing he's missing his kid's birthday, he's missed his anniversary, or he's not making it home for Christmas because of the snowstorm. You have no idea how many tears those guys have cried on the road, myself included.
Lots of tears.
Yeah, but before you judge them all, think about that one too. That's something you got to really consider.
I would take just about any driver, and no matter what they look like, I don't think there's, I think truck drivers as a whole appreciate family and kids and other people more than anybody else, any other group. Yeah, we sometimes we're a little bit more of a loner, but the heart that we have for
Are you used to it?
the heart that we have for families is
Yeah.
huge, huge. You
Yeah.
want to break a truck driver down. You'll When they come across a crash and they're trying to assist children that are dying or others that are dying,
Yeah.
you know, there's
Stop.
nobody that's like, oh well, it's no big deal. Every one of those truck drivers comes away from there and they are heartbroken just as much, not as much as the family involved, but they are heartbroken, and we see this all the time.
They're shooken up pretty bad, and they have to continue on with their job and still pull that load and make those miles. But they're gonna, and I think that they, from what they see on the road, the accidents, the near misses, oh my gosh, near misses are insane. How many I see, and they're not truckers, they are four-wheelers. Near misses I see constantly. I go home at night and I hug my kids extra hard because it makes me a little more, and trucking has made me a lot more humble in life. Life is a lot more precious, and it's not taken for granted as easily, because it can be over in a heartbeat. There's been close calls even for myself. I've watched close calls. Thankfully, I have not been in a wreck. Um, it's a tough, it's a humbling industry. Yes, you like you said, you kind of become a loner. You're kind of trained into it after hours of being by yourself. You kind of get trained into it that you're used to being alone, you're comfortable being alone, and it's all right. And so I've noticed it, like whenever after I'm done shift or whatever, and I've come home for a week off, we have a get together. We go to someone's house, and someone's like, "Hey, you're kind of quiet. What's going on?" Or you're kind of a little more to yourself. It's like, I'm adjusting coming back into being around people and so much more noise. I don't have that kind of white noise of the engine drowning everything out in the world. Um, and I don't know what to say because I've just been a week in my truck, and all I can talk about is why I hold 27 cubes here and 30 cubes there, and I vented on that one, and I didn't. This was an oil, but it turned out to be a lot. Like, I don't really have a lot to add to the conversation. So unless you want
Yeah,
to talk about oil patch, I don't have a lot to add to it. So yeah, but it's a humbling industry, I think. Yes, we might look like these big bad asses out there rolling down the highway with these jakes and loud horns and stuff, but I think you find a lot of teddy bears behind the wheel, to be honest. And
absolutely.
actually, saying that word teddy bear, the song Teddy Bear, you must know
Red,
what I'm talking about.
Red Sylvine, teddy bear.
Yes,
It'll bring me to
there, I
tears
bet
almost
you
every time.
not one trucker can hasn't cried to that song.
Yeah,
Because and when you sit there and listen to that song, it describes us perfectly. Like, I would have turned my truck around, I would have headed back just to give that little boy a ride. I would have done it. If I heard that conversation on the radio, I would have called dispatch. I'm gonna be late. Let them know. Gotta go. Gotta do
yeah.
this. Because it's what we do. It's what we do.
So I participate in as many Special Olympics convoys as I can, and I
Okay.
I try to take a Special Olympian with me because we're allowed to do
Mm-hmm.
that, right?
Yeah.
And that is so much fun. That is so much fun. The last one I was
Oh, I can
in
only imagine.
was a few years ago, or a couple of years ago. Yeah, it says there. Yeah, I'm just looking at a plaque I have on my wall here. But I was pulling an RGN trailer and
Yeah.
removable gooseneck for equipment, and I took hockey sticks and attached them to the sides of the trailer and had flags flying on them, and put a bunch of kids' toys on the trailer and strapped them down at like dump trucks and little
Yeah.
things like that, and had I can't remember what else I had on there. And my truck won the Athlete's Choice Award that year. That was pretty
Oh,
cool.
nice.
because they
That's
go and look at
awesome.
all the trucks and then they decide which one they think is the cutest. And quite often, if there's a pink cement truck there, that one will
Yeah.
win. You know,
Oh
this
yes.
year mine won because I had all the flags and I had Special Olympic flags there. I
Nice.
cheated and got some from the Special Olympics committee and Canadian flags and um, all the toys and everything strapped down on my deck, and that was pretty neat.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
that's my most one of my most favorite things I have up on the wall, just above my monitor. I can see it
Yeah.
looking at it. So yeah, it's
There's
pretty cool.
very few times a trucker will say no if it means putting a smile. If it means being able to bring you into our world, into our truck, to our personal space, if it really means something good, something to somebody, a child or anything like that, you always, it'd be hard pressed to find a trucker that wouldn't be willing to take time out of their day and do that. That was a huge thing that I got to do downtown in Ottawa during the convoy was having kids, family, parents felt more comfortable. I wouldn't, the other guys were very approachable, don't get me wrong, but I think the mom to mom, parent to parent, and they could see that I had my kids with me right there, and they can see my kids were not, abused, beaten, or wrong, whatever. It was
Yeah,
a positive view for them. So lots of times the kids would come up and they want to talk and ask, and the kids would be like, "You want to come see the bunk? You can come see the truck." And these kids, all kids haven't been inside of a semi, or all they got to do is stand on the step and look inside. And we're like, "Yeah, take your boots off, go on in. Kids have toys back there. You can check it out, hang out, whatever you
yeah,
want to do." So parents and I would stand outside and talk. My kids would give a little tour in the truck and show them like where they sleep and what we have. And these kids got to sit in a truck and it whatever. Yeah, that's my home. That's my personal space. But I don't know. You never
only
know. That might
in
have sparked something in one of those kids, and they might be the
yeah.
next big trucker. They might be, that they might talk about that with one day I got to do this kind of thing. You never know what impact you had on somebody's life. So
Maybe they'll
always
stand
gonna
up for
try and go for that.
themselves in the future. Maybe they'll take the chance to listen to somebody else's opinion instead of just their own. Maybe
Yeah,
stuff like that
and if
from
they
the
do stand
convoy
up,
as well.
if they do ever take a stand for some reason, if they felt it'd be to do it to make a stand for themselves, whatever, against something, then maybe they will take that same approach of, hey, I'm here to get my word across, but I'm going to be respectful and polite. Maybe they'll take that as well.
Yes.
So we
Yep.
can show them how it can be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
It's
cool.
been a lot of fun having you, Nicole. You're
Thank
awesome,
you. I really appreciate coming
and
on.
it we will catch up in the future some more. And
For sure. We'll keep in
any
touch.
final thoughts before we sign off here?
Oh, just keep shiny side up. Keep those wheels turning, keep shiny side up.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I want to remind everybody to like and share. Send me comments if you have questions about trucking or questions about mental health or things that I talk about on here. Please send me a message. You can go to my website, crazycanucktruckin.com. No G on the end of truckin. You can send me a message, email at crazycanucktruckin@gmail.com. You can check out all my social medias. Whichever way, get a hold of me or talk to somebody else in your circle. And, thank you, everybody, for following along. Have a great day.